The South African Chamber of Mines has welcomed the approval of the Mineral and Petroleum Resources Development Act Bill. Roger Baxter, Chief Operating Officer of the Chamber of Mines, joins us in studio. Well, you guys, for a change, are smiling. Usually it's the miners who get beaten over the head. It looks like the shale gas industry is going to get sorted out by these amendments, but you haven't got a problem.
Yeah, we weren't involved in the discussions on the shale gas side or on the offshore gas side. We were involved only in the mining related issues, and it's been a very extensive 13-month process, both with government itself and with Parliament. And of all the issues that we were particularly concerned about in the first draft that came out in December 2012, we think we've made the right progress collectively. Sometimes not perfect to what we wanted, but compromises that are the right thing for the country and for the industry. So we think that the changes are the right ones, and that we're making progress.
So you've got certainty now in mining?
It's not yet. I mean, just remember that we've got still the amendment bill itself will require regulations to be developed, so that's still a process that has to happen. But at a broader industry level, we think that we're getting better policy certainty. Just remember the nationalisation debate was a big negative for us. We've managed to, that's now out of the way. The ANC rejected wholesale nationalisation. On the tax review issues, we've got a tax review committee that we're working in. So at the policy level, we believe we're on the right trajectory. In relation to the regulatory environment itself, we also think we're making the right progress. And in this particular bill, we had nine issues that we were concerned about. We think that we've resolved a number of those particular issues, and it's not that we got everything that we wanted. Government also got quite a lot of what it wanted, but they were the right sort of compromises for the right reasons.
I wonder, though, if you look at the other side of this MPRDA amendment, where government is saying we want a 20% free carry and we want an option to buy the balance of your company before you start investing. I wonder if it isn't a little bit like perhaps what happened with people in Germany when the Jews were targeted initially during the time of Hitler. Everybody suffered in the long term. Doesn't this just slightly concern you that maybe they're going on the one side, because that's nationalisation by stealth?
Alec, I mean, we had raised some issues in our initial submission that was made in January of 2013 around the issue of the old OP2 licenses and free carried interest. I mean, there are a number of countries in the world that do have free carried interest, particularly in the oil and gas industry. So I think we must look at it from the oil and gas industry as being quite a bit different to the actual mining industry itself. And so obviously it's a concern to see what's emerged from their side. We obviously weren't involved in the discussions on that specific issue, but from our side we are making the right moves.
But the free carry is not a problem. Everybody lives with that.
Sure.
It's the 80% option. In other words, the option to buy out the rest of your business.
Sure.
If that's not nationalisation, and if we can start in oil and gas, and who's to say it won't come to mining?
I'm not convinced that it's government's intention to take 80% shares in these types of environments. I think hopefully the parties in that particular grouping will work out some sort of acceptable compromise. I mean, ultimately what needs to happen here is we need the investment in exploration to take place. We need the investment to take place in the development of those deposits. So, let's see how that process unfolds.
Roger, why do you believe government wouldn't be keen to take over mining?
Well, I mean, listen, nationalisation is not a policy option that the ANC has accepted. So, specifically in the mining side, government recognises and is working with the sector to get mining back on track. Mining has been through a very difficult last couple of years, going back to 2012, Marikana, etc. I think Marikana still cast quite a shadow over the industry, but we've worked very hard. You'll notice that if you look at strike activity, illegal strike activity last year and this year have been much more diminished. The levels of violence, the levels of intimidation have come right down. And so we are making progress. Yes, we have the platinum sector out on strike, and we hope that that can be resolved at the earliest opportunity based on a reasonably economically rational outcome. So it's a challenging space, but we are making progress as a sector in addressing the sort of issues. On issues like infrastructure, we've got some big challenges as a country, not just for the mining sector. So infrastructure is a binding constraint. The labour environment has been challenging for us, but we're not sitting on our hands. There's a lot of work that's going into resolving these, and once we get some of these bits behind us, we think we'll be pointing in the right direction.
Roger, I'm not trying to ambush you here, but the big story of the moment is Elise Stratum, rather,
Yes.
your chief negotiator, who said something to a reporter off the record,
Yes.
which has now been repeated. And you guys are backtracking from that. Even today, there was another announcement on this issue. Surely, if she believes it, and she said it on or off the record, she should stick with it.
Listen, I mean, her comments that were made were obviously her personal comments. I mean, she's a very respected member of our team, and we're certainly not going to distance ourselves from her. She's going to remain within our team, etc. So it's one of those things where comments like that, unfortunately, shouldn't have gone into the media at the particular time.
Well, I think maybe shouldn't have been made in the first place, if that's the way she feels about it.
No, sure. I mean, these things do happen, and I think there's a lot of learning for all of us, in the process. I mean, it's one of those difficult ones.
But you're sticking with her? You're not going to...
No, absolutely. Elise is a very capable person. She's got a huge amount of value that she adds to the sector.
Has she apologized for those comments, or does she still believe that she was...
No, I think the Chamber has obviously apologized to the extent of the impact that it's had on the CCMA itself. I mean, clearly I think there's room for introspection on all different sides.
The platinum sector strikes, how far are we from finding a solution there, hopefully?
Gugu, I mean, obviously, there has been a bit of progress that's been made, but I'm not sure how close we are specifically to an agreement. I mean, the mining companies have made an offer of between 7.5% and 9%, which is a very respectable offer in the current circumstances, with nearly half of the platinum sector loss-making at current prices. And so, I mean, our hope is that ultimately that agreement will be reached in the settlement zone. The industry is in a tough space at the moment, and it's not to say that the stakeholders haven't been working hard, but the companies are saying this is what we can do, and we can't do any further, otherwise it has a huge impact on the business itself.
Congratulations to you for bringing it all to the public's notice by having the running total of what the platinum sector strike is costing us at the moment, nearly 4 billion.
Well, 4 billion in wages, more than 8 billion in lost revenue to the sector, and lost revenue for the country from an export point of view and obviously from an economic activity point of view. So very interesting numbers. I think we've tried to provide as much data into the equation, also looking at wage rates and other things to just make sure that people understand that we're not paying a low level of wages. In fact, if you look at mining, in terms of guaranteed packages for entry-level miners, we're paying, in some cases, double what some other sectors are paying for similar semi-skilled workers. So it's a very challenging one. We want to have a productive, engaged, and happy workforce. But at the same time, we've also got to run viable companies and make sure that productivity and other factors are coming forward. So a lot of work being done on that, and we hope that these things come to a solution soon.